Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
On this anniversary of the landing of the Australian and New Zealand Army Corps troops at Gallipoli, we commemorate the event with a special sadness, because the men who made that fateful landing on the 25th of April 1915 are all gone, but are never forgotten. Today we gather as a school not at a battlefield memorial or cenotaph, but via video link to remember those who have fallen for our freedom. Today's service is our chance to reflect on what Anzac Day means for us as members of the Centenary Heights State High School community. It is up to us as young adults to ensure that future generations know, respect, and remember those who have bravely fought for our freedom.
I'd like to pay our respects to the elders on the land which we meet on today, the Jawa and Gaiba people. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people were present in every campaign Australia has been involved in. Even prior to the First World War, 50 Aboriginal men signed up for the Boer War. Many more for the First World War, and their contribution was even greater during the Second World War, but they received little or no recognition on their return, nor in the decades afterwards. On this Anzac Day, we acknowledge the many Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander service personnel who paid the ultimate sacrifice, and we acknowledge their service, traditions, past, present, and future.
Good morning. I'm Leading Seaman Ellen Zeiler, and I joined the Royal Australian Navy in 2003. I'm delivering this address on the lands of the Darug and Gundungurra people, and I pay my respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. My family has a multi-generation connection with the Australian Defence Force, and continuing this tradition was something I aspired to from the time I was about 15. Anzac Day was always a special day for my family when I was growing up. We would attend and march in the service at Drayton and pay our respects to the fallen. It was always a sombre day and a day for family. Although I knew and understood what Anzac Day meant and what it represented, it wasn't until my first Anzac Day as a sailor that I felt a real connection to the deeper meaning of it all. I was now one of the many thousands of Australians who have worn the uniform of our country. My stories would flow into those of all who have served before me and beside me. Throughout my 17-year career, I have travelled the world. I have been to countries in conflict, such as Timor-Leste and Afghanistan, and I have been to countries that have known conflict, such as Turkey. One thing that has not only surprised me, but has grounded me, is the respect that is extended to Australian service personnel around the globe. This is a legacy left behind by the original Anzacs, and is a foundation that we try to build upon when we are guests in other nations. Watching the sun rise over Anzac Cove on the 25th of April is something I will never forget, nor are the feelings that accompanied that sight. It was eerie and haunting, and amidst the overwhelming cold, utter tiredness, and sounds of small waves lapping on the sand, the last post echoed off the surrounding cliffs, and I could not control the tears from running down my cheeks. It was unimaginable in that moment the scale of what had taken place in that very spot so many years earlier. Anzac Day, as we know it, is not only for remembering the sailors, soldiers, airmen and women of the First World War. It is a day in which we pay tribute to all past and current serving members of the Australian Defence Force. We also remember those who served in silence and without recognition because of their sexuality or because they were First Nations peoples. And it is these groups that I would like to say a special thank you to today. Every person who has worn or is currently wearing the uniforms of our three services is a veteran, regardless of if they have served in areas of operation or not, for they have all sacrificed so much in their service to this nation. Even now, during this global pandemic, members of the ADF are still serving in many regions around the globe and are away from their families assisting in COVID-19 operations here at home. Tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. on the 25th of April 2020, I will be standing in my driveway paying my respects to the fallen, to those who came before me, and to those I serve with now. There will be no public services or parades down our streets this Anzac Day, but there will be moments remembered and respect given in solemn silence for all who have written a page in the Anzac story, lest we forget.
Abide with me, fast for sleep and tide. The darkness deepens, Lord, with me abide. When other helpers fail
Anzac Day. It is one of our nation's most special days. In fact, it verges on the sacred when people think back to those young men at Anzac Cove on the 25th of April in 1915. The sacrifice they made, the courage they showed, and the mateship that they shared amongst their group. Today, we commemorate Anzac Day for the bravery of those people, those young men, but for everybody that has gone since and served our nation. The brave men and women that across the decades have protected us and fought for our freedoms and still do so today. So no matter what you're doing on Anzac Day, please give some thought to all those people that have served and are continuing to serve. And if you're like my daughter, make some Anzac biscuits. Hard please, not soft. Or if you're getting up early on Anzac Day morning, check out the RSL website. It's Light the Dawn. We can't get out, it's very different this year. But if you can get out at dawn, stand at the end of your driveway to commemorate those men and women who have given so much to protect our freedoms over the years. So thank you for being involved with Anzac Day this year. And I really hope it's a very special commemoration at Centenary Heights State High School. Take care and see you soon.
I crouched in a shallow trench on that hell of exposed beaches, steeply rising foothills, bare of cover, a landscape pockmarked with war's inevitable litter, piles of stores, equipment, ammunition, and the weird contortions of death sculptured in the Australian flesh. I saw the going down of the sun on that first Anzac Day, the chaotic maelstrom of Australia's blooding.
I fought in the frozen mud of the Somme, in a blazing destroyer exploding on the North Sea. I fought on the perimeter at Tobruk, crashed in the flaming wreckage of a fighter in New Guinea, lived with the damned in the place cursed with the name Changi.
I was your mate, the kid across the street, the med student at graduation, the mechanic in the corner garage, the baker who brought you bread, the gardener who cut your lawn, the clerk who sent your phone bill.
I was an army private, a naval commander, an air force bombarder. No man knows me, no man marks my tomb. For I am every Australian serviceman. I am the unknown soldier.
I died for a cause I held just in the service of my land, that you and yours may say in freedom, I am proud to be an Australian.
They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them, lest we forget.